the future of technology? Is it beneficial? Is it...
Well, I think, okay, I guess let me start with this. I am a proponent of technology. However, I'm not necessarily a proponent of what people sometimes choose to how to use it.
Use it, exactly.
For myself, as a blind person, I am able to read anything printed with a computer.
Sure.
It speaks to me, so I benefit from that every day. If I want to buy something, instead of calling up a friend and having to scrounge for a ride to the store, I bring up Amazon and I order my whatever I'm going to order from Amazon, and it shows up either same day or the day later. It amazes me that they can even get stuff out to you same day.
Same day, that's right.
And I mean, do I realize that puts squeeze on mom and pops? Yeah, I do, and I feel bad about that. But at the same time, if I go into a mom and pop, I'm not going to have the same access to whatever it is they carry that I will with merchandise displayed on a computer.
Absolutely.
So that part of it I like. I don't like the whole notion that people can track where you go and they can determine what you buy, and all of a sudden you see advertising tailored toward what the things you've done.
Yeah, or say...
And in my case, I worked in the computer field for many, many years. So
really?
I would be doing my own work to clean them. So I surely wouldn't be going to anybody else to do it when I can handle it myself.
Exactly.
I do recognize, however, that most people can't.
Yeah.
And I don't know what my wife would do if I weren't in the same home with her. I mean, they would have a feast on her credit card, I don't doubt.
Wow. How long you guys have been together?
39 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
We're doing something right. I think it's the part when I say yes, dear.
Yeah.
I think that's the part that I'm doing right.
That's absolutely right. That's the right part. They like people to agree with them.
Yes.
May I ask if she's blind also or not?
No, she's not blind.
Wow, that's amazing.
It wasn't a factor for me. There were women that I knew that were blind that I would have been happy to marry early before I met her. But I don't mind I do benefit from the fact that she can drive and I can't.
Absolutely.
So there is that.
Oh, yeah.
But Uber has become, in fairness, I should also say Lyft. Uber and Lyft have become lifelines for me, because if she's tired on a given night, or maybe we had a silly argument over something stupid, and she's not going anywhere, okay?
Yeah.
Then I can arrange for my own transportation at a moderate rate that I can afford, and go to wherever I want to go and come back home and do it all independently. And for my life, it's made a huge difference.
Nice. It is absolutely and necessary. That's the good part of technology, is when it provides convenience to people who need it.
Yes.
And it's amazing. What did you do with computers? How did you start your work?
I did 3 things. I taught other blind people how to use the technology that makes print speak and allows you to then interact with programs, so that typically you would use a mouse to point and click and do things, but there are a lot of keyboard commands that you can memorize and learn that will do some of those same things, plus keyboard commands that can run what we call a screen reader, whose job it is to speak anything that comes to the screen and speak anything that you enter from the keyboard. So I taught all of that to people, but I also did a lot of standard technician work. I mean, if they brought a computer in and it had viruses, I would clean it if I needed to. In fact, my friend Connie brought her computer over last week, and I put a new solid-state drive in it to replace her hard drive, which ran like a dog.
Wow.
And then after putting that in, I rebuilt her operating system and program so that it would not have any of the garbage she had picked up through the course of using her computer.
Absolutely.
So.
So you changed the hard in the computer, the hard disk?
Yes.
May I ask, how did you navigate around that?
Well, the first thing I did was I read an article that said this is how you would go about changing a hard drive on this model.
Okay.
If I would have had to remove the keyboard to get at this, I might have thought twice, and I might have paid somebody to at least do that part of it. But because in this case,
you don't need to.
There was a compartment that gave you direct access to the hard drive.
That's right.
So I was willing to take a chance, and so I opened up the compartment, and the hard drive was right there, and I popped it out, and I was smart enough to buy a 2.5-inch form factor drive to pop right in its place.
Nice.
And then her computer was out just before they started coming out with NVMe slots.
Wow.
So I used that drive for it because I knew we would have no issues with compatibility. And then once I put the cover back on, then I just installed the operating system and all the software she was using from before, and then got it ready for her. And then she came back over the next day, and of course, I said, well, it's free, but you'll take me to dinner sometime.
Oh, so you didn't charge her?
No, not her. She's a friend.
Nice. So you do this often? You fix computers for people?
I do.
And charge them for it?
I do. But my rates kind of vary. If I know the person's on a really tight fixed income, then I charge a lower rate for them than I would if people were, able to pay. But I wouldn't gouge them either. I would just charge standard rates.
Absolutely. So you did all this based on the touch. You touch the compartments, and that is magnificent. Where do you get the patience for all this?
That's a great question. My involvement in computing started when I started reading articles about how all the print we read was really generated by computers, and that instead of having to wait for something to become placed in braille or recorded, I could go online and read that information. And I have always, all my life, I've always wanted to know things that probably would bore anybody else, but I want to learn them.
Like what?
I'm an amateur radio operator, and so I was interested in knowing whether there were any more companies that still build transceivers in the United States, and it turns out that there is one.
Wow.
And that surprised me. I thought it would all be overseas. But I mean, I have weird questions like that, or I might just be sitting there thinking about, after watching a National Geographic special, I might think, okay, but if a tiger and a lion really got into a rumble, who stood the best chance coming out of that? And I'm sure that there's a lot of people who could care less about that question, but I wanted to know, so I would start Googling, but it was mostly because I could independently read that got me started. And then I've always had a technological bent in my life because I've always enjoyed things like radios and related technology, and so it was kind of a natural bridge to go from that to computers for me. And then once there was technology that I could really use independently without relying on other people, all of a sudden it's like somebody threw a door and said, here's a 24-hour library that you can use anytime you want. You don't have to get someone sighted to read you.
And it's for free.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
And that's all it took.
Nice.
Then everything else kind of fell out from that. training of other people, the repairing of computers, and all of that just sort of followed from really the main primary push, which for me was learning how to handle things. And so I was very, very happy that, and that's why I know all the risks involved, and I understand that. I try to be as careful as I can. My wife and I watch movies together, so now a lot of movies use this technology these days called audio description, where if you enable this mode on your TV, there is a narrator that will say, "He went into the kitchen and walked up behind her."
Okay.
And I would then know what you just saw.
Okay.
But you obviously, that's off by default because most people wouldn't need it.
Of course.
But that's why I like watching movies at home too, so that if I do want to ask a question, we can pause the whole movie and I can get it clear with my wife what we just saw, and
that's
then
amazing.
go on from there.
So she is your eyes and you are her shield, basically.
You could say that.
Yeah.
I keep her out of trouble and occasionally have discussions about where have you been and how did you get this crap on the computer, and I've warned you, but one day you're going to lose something important and I won't be able to help you. But yes,
nice.
To answer your question, we really are good about helping each other.
Did you have any kids?
Unfortunately, we do not. The only thing I have is 2 dogs. I have a seeing eye dog who is at home.
Okay.
And I have another dog that is my wife's dog, who is a Labrador. But other than that, we wanted kids, just wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't. Yeah, if it's not meant to be, it is. That's life. So you said you taught blind people how to use computer. Did you do it in an institution, and did that institution help you to get on track with computers?
I did it in a nonprofit agency in Cleveland, Ohio, and I've also done it here in Alexandria in an organization called National Industries for the Blind. So I worked for them, but I also, before all of that, ran a company with another fellow where we did it for 8 years as independent contractors, and we took a major contract with Social Security and trained their employees on how to use the equipment that they need, their braille displays and their screen readers, to access the information that Social Security has on their website.
Wow.
And then I just retired, I guess it was maybe 2.5 years ago, but people laugh at me. They go, "Yeah, you're retired and you're still doing the same stuff. I don't consider you retired except you're not getting paid for it." So
it depends on the pace of what you're doing.
That's right.
If you are doing it at a low pace, that's retirement. I mean, retirement shouldn't mean you stop living or you stop working. It's just you lower it much down to only the fun level.
Sir, that would be my argument precisely.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the one thing I promised myself is that I wasn't going to sit around in my retirement eating bonbons all day. I wanted to keep mentally active, and
that's how you live longer.
Yes.
That's absolutely right. May I ask, I've read the other day something that interests me and I didn't know, and please feel free not to answer if you feel uncomfortable. I heard blind people don't dream, or dream and they're also blind in the dream. Is that right? And how does that work?
I would answer you this way, and it's fine to ask that. They dream the way they live. Like,
okay.
I would never dream about a sunset because I don't have a way to measure having seen that sunset. Now, if a person had seen it earlier in their lives and then lost their vision, they're going to have sighted dreams.
Okay.
And they're going to dream about the sunsets they've seen because they have a way to
remember.
But in my dreams, I hear, I taste, I smell, and I touch.
Okay.
Just the way I would live normally. So, and yes, I have many of them. Some of them I just wake up and I go, okay, what bad food did I eat to cause that one?
Really?
But yes.
So sometimes what you eat during the day causes you to dream something bad?
I have a theory that it does. I don't know that I could prove that, though.
Would this theory, hypothetically speaking, would this theory applies to me, a person who can see also? A food can affect my dream?
I would suggest that maybe it does. I know when I eat high acid level foods, it's like I have a weird dream and then I wake up and I'm dealing with what that means.
Okay.
So I think there is some relationship for me, but I also think, I mean, occasionally, like if I'm watching, an example might be Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Okay, which I love that series. But there are times that I'm not clear I want to watch it right before I go to bed because I'm highly suggestive. And if things didn't resolve itself in the way that I liked, then I have this tendency to want to resolve it differently in my dreams. But oftentimes that doesn't happen either.
Okay.
So it just sort of depends.
So when you wake up, as you said earlier, when you wake up from the dream, how can you tell the difference it was only a dream? Because you're dreaming the same way you're living. What is the difference between...
When I reach down and touch my bed and I go, oh, I'm still in it.
Okay.
Then I'm aware that then I'm in it, then I know.
Absolutely. Really. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Should I go inside the driveway?
If you would, please.
I
That
don't
would be
mind.
wonderful.
Sure. Okay. Would you like me to help you to the door?
No, I can do that just fine. But
Okay.
thank you very much for everything.
Absolutely. It was nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you too.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Good luck with everything.
And I hope maybe one day we'll run into each other again.
I hope so too. Yes, exactly.